Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern of New Zealand has spoken of a shared COVID recovery strategy between New Zealand and Australia during a meeting with Victoria's Premier. The PM is hoping a world trade tour will boost her country's economy after 2 years of strict border controls.
For 2 years, their strict COVID policies went hand in hand.
We'll get the handshake. Want another one?
Just one more. One more for luck.
Victoria's Premier meeting New Zealand's Prime Minister. The pair shared a unique approach to the pandemic that saw popularity fluctuate, introducing tough border closures and strict COVID lockdowns to keep the coronavirus at bay. Daniel Andrews was dubbed Australia's Jacinda Ardern.
It is so good to be able to see you in person. And in part because during many of those conversations that we had during COVID, where we were exchanging ideas and information, I willed for the day that we would be able to meet in person because of all of what that would represent.
In Melbourne, those shared interests have turned to recovery.
New Zealand and Victoria have a great bond, a great friendship, and a really important partnership. We've got almost an MCG's worth of Kiwis living here. They make a really important difference.
New Zealand's Prime Minister is in Australia on a trade mission. She and Small Business and Tourism Minister Stuart Nash joined 30 Kiwi business leaders to talk industry, trade and government.
Most of my reflections primarily centre around the very shared experience that the world is having in our COVID recovery. For as difficult as this period feels, I can tell you we are not alone in feeling it.
It's a continuation of a world trade tour after the Prime Minister signed deals in the EU, the UK and the US. Australia is one of New Zealand's strongest economic allies. In 2019, 1.5 million Aussies crossed the Tasman, bringing $2.5 billion to New Zealand's economy.
This period is an opportunity to try new approaches, develop new technologies, establish new markets and rebuild our economies to be more sustainable, more equitable and more productive.
After 2 years of strict international border controls and COVID restrictions, New Zealand has become somewhat of an understudy on the world stage. And Jacinda Ardern is all too aware of that, now intending to put it back on the map. Jacinda Ardern will travel to Sydney to continue trade talks with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. She'll also meet New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet after a quip from his Victorian counterpart.
We've also got a very significant number of New Zealanders who call Melbourne and Victoria home, so it makes sense at the end of an important international trip that she would stop by. I think she's going to Sydney as well. She's come to Melbourne first, which is as it should be.
Jessica Maggio, Sky News, Melbourne.